In this lesson, I will discuss about the average speed and the average velocity. But gore kgone to understand this topic, it tlo nyaka ile gore o na le a deep understanding ka the distance and the displacement. Ke na le a full video mo ile gore ke be ke discuss about the distance and displacement. So I get to explain everything in details when it comes to distance and displacement because ke na le a full video mo ile gore ke be ke explain everything in details. Anyway, let's understand what is average speed and what is average velocity. Average speed re shumisha this formula. So average speed actually over the total distance traveled divided by the total time taken, and then average velocity re shumisha this v mara mo godimo ra bia arrow go bontsha gore ke a vector quantity. So average velocity e lekana le the total displacement divided by the total time taken. Let's say for example koloi e move from this point A and then here to point B. Let's say this distance is 400 meters, and then let's say this car again e move from this point B kore ile to point B from A, and then ya jiga from point B, and then let's say ya stop at this point C, and then let's say this one is 700 meters, and let's say go move from point A to point B it take 4 hours, and then go move from point B to point C, let's say it take 2 hours. So ge re nyaka go tseba gore a car e tsamaya ka speed se se kae, actually a speed in over how fast someone or something is moving. Re nyaka go tseba lebelo la gago le le tsamayago. So ge re nyaka go tseba lebelo re tshwanetse re tsebe distance first. So e rela gore a speed ke distance traveled divided by time taken. Re tlo re 400 divided by 4 hours. So e rela gore re tlo tseba gore speed sa gago sa go tloga from A to B o kitima ka lebelo le le kae. So the same thing re nyaka go tseba speed sa gago from point B to point C, re tlo re distance divided by time. But now ge re nyaka the average speed is like a total. Re tlo nyaka go tseba gore this car e tlogile from point A ya to point B, and then from point B to point C e tšere distance ya bokae. So re nyaka average, re nyaka total. E rela gore ge re nyaka the average speed re tlo re 400 plus 700 divided by 4 plus 2 ke 4 hours plus 2 hours. So re nyaka the total distance traveled le the total time taken. So re tlo add this distance and then re add le this time. But let's say re nyaka the average velocity. Ge re nyaka the average velocity re tlo re 400 minus 700, and then ra add time ya 4 hours plus 2 hours. This is because displacement is a vector quantity in a direction. Displacement e ka ba negative, e ka ba positive, e laola ke direction. Re shumisha this direction, re na le north, ra ba le west, south, east, and then re a tseba gore ka mo godimo ke di positive, ka mo ke di negative, ka mo ke di negative, and ka mo ke di positive. So e rela gore east ke di positive, west ke di negative, north ke di positive, and then south ke di negative. This car ge tloga from point A e ya to point B e be ya east, so 400 e ba positive. And then ge tloga from point B e ya to point C ya ba negative, because now e ya west ka di negative, so that is why e ba negative. So it's important gore o tsebe gore displacement ke a vector quantity, and then distance ke a scalar quantity. Distance is always positive, so that is why for distance re addile 400 and then ra adda 700, because distance always ke a positive, a gona gore e ka ba negative, but displacement e ka ba negative, e ka ba a positive. And then because distance is in meters or kilometers, and then time e ka ba in seconds, minutes or hours. Let's say distance ya gago is in meters, and then let's say time ya gago is in seconds. E rela gore answer ya gago ye le gore o e kry-a for the average speed e ra gore yo ba in meters per seconds, ke this one, and then divide by this one. And then ge be e le gore distance ya gago is in kilometers and then your time is in hours, e rela gore answer ya gago yo ba in kilometers per hour. So ke di units tša the average speed or the average velocity. The only difference between the speed and the velocity ke gore velocity e na le direction. Velocity actually no ba a speed, but se na le direction. Speed ga se na direction, so e no ba gore moving from point A to point B ke 10, but as for a velocity se rela gore moving from point A to point B ke 10 but east, so ya ba a specific direction. So that's the only difference between the speed and the velocity. So it's clear gore ge o tseba distance o tseba displacement e rela gore this topic it will be very easy, because now the new thing you know ba gore o divide ka time fela. So that is why it's important gore o lebelele that video mo le gore be ke discussa distance and displacement. So anyway, now re tlo practice the examples based on this topic. This questionnaire, a man travels 5 meters in the easterly direction, turns around, then travels 800 meters in the opposite direction. He covers the distance in 100 seconds. Ranale, this situation. But this man will travel in easterly direction. Erela gore o ya east ke this direction. Let's say ke point A and point B. We move from point A to point B. And then this distance ke 500 meters. This person wa jika, and then we are in the opposite direction. Erela gore jika from B and then we are in the opposite direction. Erela gore ke this direction. And then ke 800 meters. The total time ke 100 seconds. Ge a ya from point A to point B, ebile a jika a boya at this point, let's say ke point C. So the time ke 100 seconds. This question re calculate the average speed. Re tseba gore formula ya average speed ke the total distance traveled. So re shumisha D for distance, and then for time re shumisha this one, changing T. E rela gore re tlo tshwanela gore find the total distance. Re tloga from point A to point B ke 500, so era gore distance e tlo ba 500 plus 800 ke ge move from point A to B and then from point B to point C. So 500 plus 800 ke 1300 meters. Remember our distance is always positive, so that is why re add 500 and 800. So re la gore our answer globally 1300 divided by 100 e re fa 13, and then the units tša rena e tlo ba meters per seconds, because distance rena ba re file in meters and then our time ba re file in seconds, so that is why e ba meters per seconds. Now are calculate part B, the average velocity. Re tseba gore average velocity e lekana le displacement divided by time. For displacement re šomiša either change in x or change in y. Ge e le gore object ya rena e move from left to right, e move ka this direction ya left to right, re šomiša change in x because ke x axis, but ge e le gore e ya up or down re šomiša change in y because ke y axis. So e rela gore for this one re tlo ba le change in x divided by time, and then re tseba gore this one ke displacement. So for displacement re tlo ba le 500 minus 800. Remember gore ge ya A to B ke positive because ke east, but from B to C ke negative because ke west. So 500 minus 800 e re fa minus 300. The reason e re fa minus 300 is because e are in the opposite direction, e ya ka west, because west ke the negative. Remember our displacement ke a vector quantity in a direction, so re na le 300 meters west. So e rela gore our average velocity over negative 300 divided by 100, and then e re fa negative 3 meters per seconds. So e rela gore re na le 3 meters per seconds west. So velocity e depend on the displacement. Ge e le gore displacement ya go ke west, e rela gore le velocity ya e tlo ba west, so it depend on the displacement. Anyway, ke answer ya rena in this way. And then this one a motorist drives north at 25 meters per second for 5 minutes, turns around and then drives at 20 meters per second in the opposite direction for 4 minutes. Re na le this situation, ba re this car ya up because ba re ke north, and then ba re ya ka speed sa 25 meters per second, and then time ya gona ke 5 minutes. This time ga se ba re fa distance, ba re file speed le time, and then this car ba re ya fase, e turn around ya fase, and then ba re file gore ka speed sa 20 meters per second, and then ba re fa gore ke time ya 4 minutes. So question e re calculate the average speed. Re tseba gore average speed is equals to total distance traveled divided by the time taken. E rela gore re tlo tshwanela gore re kreye this distance ya ga ya godimo, let's say ke distance 1, and then re kreye this distance ya ga ya fase, let's say ke distance 2. Ge re ka tseba this distance 1, re tseba distance 2, re tlo di adder, re kgona go kreya the total distance. So re tlo tshwanela gore kreye these distances, it tlo ba very easy because re na le this formula, and then on this formula re tseba gore this one ke speed and then this one ke time. E rela gore re tlo šomiša this formula, ra kreya distance ra kry-a this part pele, and then ra dira the same thing, ra kry-a distance re šomiša this part. So re la gore re tlo cross multiply mo ra kry-a d. So ge re cross multiply re la gore d e re ke d1 because re nyaka distance ya this one first. D1 is equals to v times change in t ke ge re cross multiply. Ba re file speed sa rena sa 25, and then ba re fa time ya 5 minutes, but lemoga something, mo ba re file speed sa rena ba re ke 25 meters per seconds, but time ya rena ba re fa yona in minutes. E rela gore tlo tshwanela gore change di minutes re di ishe to seconds gore di kgone corresponda. Remember gore 1 minute e lekana le 60 seconds, so e rela gore ge re change 5 minutes re nyaka go isha 2 seconds, re tlo re 5 times 60. So 5 times 60 e re fa 300, so e rela gore ke 300 seconds. Therefore 25 times 300 e re fa 7,500 meters. So e rela gore re kry-ile this distance. So re tlo dira the same thing, ra kry-a distance 2. V is equals to d divided by change in t. So d2 ya rena ra dira the same thing. Ba re file gore ke speed sa 20, and then time still ba re file in minutes. So re tlo change di minutes ra di isha to seconds. Ra tseba re moving from minutes to seconds, re multiply ka 60. So re tlo re 4 times 60, and then 4 times 60 e re fa 240. Therefore re tlo re 20 times 240 e re fa 4,800 meter. So re kry-ile this distance ya go ya up le ya go ya down. So e rela gore ge re nyaka the total distance re tlo adda this one and this one. This one re rile ke 7,500 ge ya up, and then this one re rile ke 4,800 ge ya down. Therefore a re find the average speed for part A. So v is equals to total distance traveled divided by time taken. Total distance traveled ya rena ke 7,500 plus 4,800, so e re fa 12,300, and then divide by total time taken. Re tlo adda this time ya 5 minutes plus 4 minutes because re nyaka the total time. But remember gore re change 5 minutes to the seconds, ra change 4 minutes to the seconds. So o tlo re 5 minutes times 60, and then e re file this one e re file 300 seconds, and then this one ge re re 4 times 60 e re file 240 seconds. So re la gore re tlo re 300 plus 240, so 300 plus 240 e re fa 540 ke total time. Therefore 12,300 divided by 540 e re fa 22.78 meters per seconds, because re change time ya rena to seconds. So ke answer ya rena ya part A. And then part B e nyaka the average velocity. Average velocity is equals to total displacement divided by total time. Ke šomiša change in y because ke up or down motion. So change in y ke displacement ya rena. Displacement re tseba gore this object ge ya godimo e ya ka go north ke positive, but ge ya down e rela gore ke negative. So e rela gore re tlo re 7,500 minus 4,800, and then e re fa 2700. And then time ya rena re nyaka this one plus this one. Time ga e change, re no add the total, so ke 540. And therefore 2700 divided by 540 e re fa 5 meters per second. And then because ke positive e rela gore e tlo ba north. Remember gore ba re file this direction e ra gore ke north and south. Ge e be le negative e rela gore e tlo ba south. And then because ke north ke positive, so ke answer ya rena in this way. And then this one a car travels at 40 kilometer per hour for half an hour, then 60 kilometer per hour for the next hour, and then at 90 kilometer for another half an hour. More this situation, this car and as far direction in this way, I allow re ka choose any direction, and based on this question I calculate the average speed. For a speed that's about direction high important, so that is why has for direction. Now this situation, a car, let's say you're in this direction because has for direction, and then this car it's a mayaka speed sa 40 kilometer per hour, and then for time ya gore ke half an hour. Half an hour e no tshwana le half, because 1 hour ke 1, so ga ba half an hour go no ra gore 1 times half, so 1 times half ke half, so ga ba re half an hour ba no rela gore e tlo ba half. In this way re tlo ngwala in this way. And then ra ba le another situation mo e le gore this car it travel again ka 60 kilometer per hour for the next hour, ke 60 kilometer per hour, and then for the next hour ba no rela gore 1, because 1 hour in over 1, so ka time ya 1 hour. And then rabali another situation again, and then 90 kilometer for another half an hour, or feel 90 kilometer per hour for half an hour. This problem is only the previous one, but the only difference for this one bar feel 3 situations, and then bar feel same direction, but it's only the same thing. Re nyaka go find this distance, and this distance. Let's say distance 1, distance 2, distance 3, and then re tlo di adda le di time tša bona kaofela. E rela gore re tlo šomiša the same formula. Re tseba gore v is equals to distance divided by time. Re tlo re d1 re tlo cross multiply, and then ba re file gore na le speed sa 40, because ba re file this time ka ba rile ke per hour, and then ba re fa time ya rena in hour. E rela gore re ka se re change because re nyaka e corresponde ke hour and hour, so e ra gore tlo ngwala the way le ka gona, so e ra gore e tlo ba half. And then ra dira the same thing ka d2, ke v times changing t, re tlo re 60, and then changing time in over 1, and then ra dira again ka d3, so ya d3 ke 90, and then ke half an hour. Therefore 40 times half ke 20. E rela gore for this one re na le 20 meter, and then this one 60 times 1 ke 60, and then 90 times half ke 45. E rela gore ge re nyaka total distance re tlo adda 20 plus 60 plus 45. So re la gore total distance e lekana le 20 plus 60 plus 45, and then 20 plus 60 plus 45 e re fa 125 meters. And then total time, ge re add this one le this one and this one, half plus half e tlo re fa 1, and then plus 1 ke 2, e rela gore re na le 2 hours. So go kry-a the average speed e tlo ba easy because ra tseba gore average speed ke total distance traveled divided by time. So e rela gore ge re find the average speed re tlo re total distance traveled divided by total time taken. Total distance traveled ke 125, and then total time ke 2 hours. And then based on this question already ba re file 2 hours, so e rela gore e make sense because ba re calculate the average speed of the car for 2 hours, and then rena re rile ge re add those times they are for 2 hours, so e ra gore re on the right track. So 125 divided by 2 e re fa 62.5, because distance ya rena e be le in kilometer and then time ya rena e le in hour, e rela gore answer ya rena e tlo ba 62.5 kilometer per hour. And then because ke speed e rela gore direction ga e hlokege, only the velocity nyaka go speed, so ke answer ya rena in this way. And then this one ke our last question, e re what does it mean by motion with uniform velocity? Explain your answer. This is our answer. E rela gore ke motion at constant velocity. So ge ba re motion with uniform velocity, go rela gore ke motion at constant velocity. Let's understand gore e rela gore ge re is when an object maintains exactly the same speed during its motion. Let's say a car ya travelers ya somewhere. Let's say for every 1 minute e covera distance ya 5 meters. So for every 1 minute e covera the same distance ya 5 meter. So o ka kgona bona gore this distance ga e change, so ke the same distance with the same time. So e rela gore this motion o tsamaya at a constant velocity. That is why re re ke a uniform. The word uniform e no rela gore the same, e tshwana le the constant, e rela gore ga e change. So e tsamaya ka the same distance for every specific certain time. So ke this meaning, and then ke answer ya rena in this way. And then based on our introduction and everything e le gore be re discuss mo re na le a formal definition ya average speed and the average velocity, so we define in this way.